And hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this live event. This is inspired mainly through the release of our new user interface. We've been working pretty hard over the past 6 months, previously listening to a lot of the user feedback about what is useful and what could be improved in the platform. And so we've really looked at how we can put a bunch of those things into the platform, at the same time removing all the clutter so that it's just a streamlined piece of software that anybody can get in and start using. So what I wanted to do is to just have a quick conversation about immersive learning, not just SITU360 itself, but immersive learning. So we like to, as Lauren said, we didn't start SITU360 necessarily as an education tool, but it soon became very apparent that it was fantastic for that. And immersive education, we've now diverted essentially entirely to education because we think it's so important, and the tool really just works really well for it. So immersive education for us is about being as simple as you can, because teachers don't have a lot of time to learn new software. We don't want just teachers to use it, we want the kids to use it. And so simplicity really is our main focus, but at the same time, add in a lot of features that make it powerful. So I just wanted to take you through a bit of that and essentially talk about what is Situ. Even if you've used it, it's good to just get it from my perspective. What is Situ? Why is it important? And also, how do we use it? And I'll take you through a very basic project, which I'll create in front of you, and then I'll show you how we can view it on the desktop, on mobile, and in VR. So basically, Situ is a web-based tool. So you access it through your browser via the internet. It helps you create interactive and engaging lessons and projects for your students. Now, you can create, as teachers, you can create a project to educate kids, or you can give the tool to the kids to be able to play around with, create their own experiences, interactive stories, and that sort of thing. And I'll show you a couple of examples of various projects that have been made by teachers and students and so on. Why is it important? It really is important because immersive, engaging education, as most of you will probably know, when engagement is increased, there's a sense of information retention, the students' happiness in the classroom goes up, the excitement levels, and being able to do that in a way that's really easy is very important. And there's been studies done that say the retention of information while doing immersive learning can be up to 60%. It's almost like you're going out into the world and actually doing these things. So you don't need to leave the classroom, whether it's for COVID reasons or financial reasons, not able to go and do a field trip, for example. This is a fantastic way to supplement that. And you can really simulate a lot of those experiences using this kind of software. And some examples of use cases, not specific, but generally. So we've got people using it for virtual field trips, and I'll show you a fantastic example of that soon. Illustrating maths or science concepts, and I'll show you one of those as well. Kids can learn how to storytell and create narratives around virtual environments. Problem solving using escape room sort of ideas, art galleries, school tours and inductions. That says introductions, that's meant to say inductions. And you can also, not even necessarily from an education point of view, but from a school point of view, for getting professional staff learning and inductions, including COVID-safe guidelines, is something that people are using it for. So, there can be a lot of anxiety starting a new job. And if you have a sort of a virtual tour and a virtual introduction to the school, it can be a really powerful way to get people on board much easier. So I just wanted to show you a couple of the examples of some fantastic projects that people have been doing. So this one is something that was put together by Carrington Public School.
Welcome to Carrington Public School's virtual art exhibit.
Now, This is a school-wide project. I think it was put together by a specific teacher, and all the kids were involved in creating artworks and putting together all the content in the media. And so what we start off in a virtual environment, and it's going to be a little bit slow because of all the video, the live streaming going on. We have a voiceover.
We are very excited to share with you our artistic journey this term.
So the kids can get involved in doing the voiceovers. You can link to external units of work so that you can see what the requirements of the project were. So this is an external link here. And at the same time, we can move around and have a look at, there are different classes in here. So I'm just going to have a look at grade 5-6 DC.
Hello and welcome to 5-6's 2020 art exhibit.
I'll just stop that audio as well. Once again, we're in a virtual environment. And now I can go into one of these, and this is all put together in situ. So we have some video of the students creating their artworks. You can really, see, hear, and feel what they're doing, and really engage with how they've gone about doing this process. And then when we go to the art exhibition itself, we can see the artworks from the kids. And in this case, we're surrounded by these artworks, and we can go to, say, Shayla, have a look at the information and a poem that obviously inspired this piece of artwork. So you can get the kids to, give you some information on why or how they were inspired to create the artworks and embed it to really give it that personal feel. We can move around, next, previous, foyer, etc. And this is a very in-depth example of a school-wide project. So that is an absolutely fantastic way to do it. But you need, for something like that, you do need a fair amount of cooperation from teachers and students. And if you have the energy to do that, it's absolutely fantastic. Then there is something like this. So I've talked about virtual field trips very quickly. This one was created by a teacher off her own bat, and she wanted to engage the students in a virtual field trip. She went around the local parklands, shot these 360s, and then she's embedded a bunch of images and text layers into this experience in a way that the kids can, search and get some inspiration for their next field trip down to this location, and really get a sense and a feel of what the area sounds like and what it looks like, and the natural flora and fauna which is in the area. What I love about this, I'll just get out of here. What I love about that is the fact that it didn't take a lot of 360 photography and filming. That part of it was reasonably simple, some photos along a path. It was gathering the photographs that she embedded in there and putting the text together, which created the rich depth. So from a very, very complicated art gallery to something that's reasonably simple, but very in-depth from that virtual field trip. And then the last one is illustrating maths concepts. I think some of you may have seen this one already, but this is a very simple illustration of placing mathematical concepts over a real world environment. I'm just going to pause that so you don't get the audio. The kids can look around, they can get a sense of the space, they know this place, they really understand what's going on. And then you've just overlaid these simple markers to illustrate that there is something to engage with. And then when they read the text, they can click on the information. There's a questionnaire in here, and they go through, they answer it, submit. That's just a Google form or a Microsoft form. And it's simple. That is approximately 30, 45 minutes worth of work. And you can do that very easily with the tools that are inside SITU360. So from a huge art gallery tour to a virtual an in-depth but reasonably easy to make field trip to something that you can do in half an hour, that's kind of the scope of what's possible inside SITU360. So what I wanted to do was also illustrate the point that, for example, I'm going to be putting together a project which is based on some images of the Eiffel Tower. And it's not just a matter of here is a virtual field trip to the Eiffel Tower. You could, for example, with exactly the same footage, put together a mathematics lesson like I just showed you on the Opera House of angles. You could talk about speeds of the elevators traveling up and down and work out some maths around that. You could talk about forces and the structure, the architectural structure. You could talk about the history of the Eiffel Tower, the virtual field trip to Paris. So just with a small number of locations, you can do a lot. And I think for me, one of the really important things is to try and get across that you don't need to shoot a huge amount of content. You don't necessarily even need to shoot content if you wanted to use, say, the Opera House, which is on the Situ platform for you to use anyway. So you can really just dig in and do a lot of this stuff without having to get deep in the technical weeds. And for even if you wanted to shoot your own, but you couldn't go very far, you could go and shoot the quadrangle and talk about, overlay and illustrate how distances from one corner to the other work using Pythagoras, or talk about the speeds at which kids are running, acceleration and deceleration. There's so many things, human health and safety in COVID times with all these people around, that you can just extrapolate out quite a lot. And I also just wanted to point out that it's not necessary to have a lot of complex equipment. So you create on the desktop using just a standard PC or Mac and a web browser. And then you can view those on a desktop. So if you send it to the kids via email, they can just see it on a Chromebook. If you have the mobile and VR kits from the STEM department, you can use those mobiles and the VR headsets, and I'll show you that just towards the end. But you don't need super complex gear to do all of this. So what I just wanted to do now was take you through how to make a project. Now, I don't think this is going to take more than about 20 minutes. I've chosen an Eiffel Tower scene because it has a bit of history in there. It's got a sort of field trip angle. And I'm also going to throw in there a quiz, which will show you how you can interact with the kids in a bit of a different way. And I've got a sort of an escape room element going onto it. So it engages the kids and really gets them to read all the information and have a look around. So I'm just going to start that now. I'll switch over to my interface. So basically, you log into Situ360. If you don't have a login, there will be information for that either in your emails, or if you don't have anything, either ask Lawrence or email support at Situ360 and we can help you out with that. But essentially what you have is you have three menus: a dashboard, which gives you analytics about your projects. You have to choose a project here to get analytics from it. You have your experiences, which is where all your projects live. And you have your media. And your media is a place where you can upload images, audio, videos. You can create folders and organize per project, or you can explore the Situ360 library. And the library, depending on your account, you'll either have one or two items here. Most of you being in education will only have the one because the other is more a business focus. And in here you have this is a test, an example website, so you don't have as many, but in your accounts, you should have 2 or 3 pages worth of 360 locations that you can use in your experiences. So basically what I'm going to do is go ahead, create a project. I'm going to call this Tour of the Eiffel Tower. I can add a description, etc. I'm going to click create, and then you've got a blank canvas to start with. So you can either upload your own or you can add from the library, but we're going to upload our own in this instance. So I'm going to go in here and get some content. So I have a bunch of 360s. I'll just upload 2 of them at the moment. And these could be your the 360s of your school or the virtual field trip that you've done. Once they've uploaded, these can also be either photographs or videos. If they're videos, they need to be MP4s. Photographs can be JPEGs or PNGs. And when you go to upload, all that information is down here. So you're not having to second guess yourself if you've got the right formats. So now I have a project with 2 360 locations in it. And I'm just going to go in to the first one. The first thing I always do is name my scene. It makes it easier to navigate when you're back in the experience outline here. I'll just go into this one and call this Trocadero. And we'll go back. And now basically what I'm going to do, I'm not going to link those up until the end, and I'll show you why. But essentially, the very first thing I always do after naming the scene, obviously, is to get an angle that I really like. So I think aesthetics is very important. If somebody opens the scene and it looks like that, they're going to be a bit confused. So I always move around to a location I'm happy with. And then basically over on the left-hand side, that's where you see all your menus. So if you're working on just the scene, you can see the items for that. If you're working on an object on the scene, then this side panel will change to show the options for that object. So I move that around. Now, I need to set that as my starting location. So I go over to the starting camera direction and I hit set, and you see the green tick. That means this is now set. So if I move around, if I go back and then I go back into the location, it's set where I wanted it to be. If this was a video, it would have the background volume that you could change, and the field of view, you can zoom in and zoom out. Now, once again, it's a personal preference. I don't like 360s that are zoomed a long way in. They're very hard to navigate. So if you want to take my advice, I always go for roughly 110 for a field of view, because it feels open and spacious, and it's nice. So now that we've set our starting camera direction and our scene up the way we want it, I want to add a title. So we have the tools across the top here: media, waypoint, link, text, and gallery tool. Now I'm just going to be using the text, the gallery tool, and the media, and the waypoint. So probably just not the URL. That's just an object that you can type a website into and it reacts to that. So I'm going to click the text and it arrives in the center of your screen. Because the background is white, it was kind of hard to see, but I just click on that and I can move it to wherever I like. In this case, I'm going to put it up here and I'm going to type in the Eiffel Tower. Now, obviously, it's white on white. What I do is just underneath, I go to the design options, text color, make it black. I'm also going to unbold it. You can change the font, you can change the size. You can also give it a background if you like. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as it is, but I do want it on one line. Now, this is something that is reasonably simple to do, obviously, but not necessarily something you'd think about straight away. If you want, you can see in your text, it's all in the one line. If you want the text up here on one line, this canvas needs to be made bigger. So essentially, click on here, and these scale handles, just drag those out. You can pull this up, you don't need to, but just to make it a bit neater, put that in place. And now we have a title in the scene. So we have the Eiffel Tower. Great, that's pretty simple. Now what I want to do is I want to put some photos of the view from the top. Now there's 2 ways to do that. I'll show you the first way in this instance and the second way in the next example. So a gallery, if I create a gallery, I click on it, it arrives in the middle of the stage. I just want to move that to the top here. Now a gallery, if you just click once, you can move it, scale it, rotate it. If I click twice, it shows me the gallery. Now, as I said, on the left-hand side, all the tools are laid out for whatever is active at that time. So I'm just going to call this the view from the top. Now, the object name is just for my reference. It's not going to show up anywhere. And what you do with the gallery is you start from the top and you work your way down. So gallery style, I click on that and you can see all these different styles. And because I've got this open, I double clicked on that to open it. I can see it changed. So you can have just text, text and images, or just images. And if you're on text or text and images, you can be left aligned or right aligned. And you've got different colors. I'm just going to leave it on black for the time being. You can align it to the left, right, center, make it small, make it large. It's entirely up to you. For this, I'm just going to make it medium size and in the center. And then we move down to heading and text. Click on headings and text. I'm just going to call this a view from the top. And I'm going to call the subtitle, it's spectacular. And then I have some text that I've already written, and this is going to be relevant in a moment, the body text. Copy and paste that in. And now I talk about the fact that the Eiffel Tower is 300 meters high. And I talk about the fact that people sit around on the grass. And towards the end here, I've said, while sitting on the lawn, looking towards the tower, directly underneath, they can see the spectacular building known as the Trocadero. And I'll get to that, why that's important in a minute. So we've done our headings and text. We want to put some media in. So we click images and media. So we click in here and we can either put media from our media library or we can embed content from the web. And I'll do both of those. But for this example, right now, I'm going to add from my media and I'm going to add some images. Now, this is the view from the top. I've just found these images on Google Images. So nothing tricky here. You can see as I click on them, they arrive in your list on the left-hand side. And they've also arrived in the gallery on the right-hand side. So I'll just add a few of these. And I'm happy with that. Now, if you click them in the order that you want, they will arrive in the order you want. If you want to change the order, you just click on this very small handle and move them to whichever position you'd like. So now you will be able to see that when I click on this button, which is editing, I now have my scene and I have a gallery tool, which I click on and I've got a view from the top and I can see the images that I added in here. So really basic, very easy to do, takes no time at all. Now, I'll come out of previewing mode, back into editing mode. I want to put a image gallery in a different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin around to this side, just give myself some room. I am going to click on the media. Now, basically what media is, it gives you a canvas to be able to apply images, videos, and audio. A gallery lets you also embed and do other things, text and headings. This is just a canvas to place media. So you can't have text and embeds and all those other things. So it places it in the middle and I can move it around. I can rotate it. It lives in a 3D space. There's a green arrow to move things backwards and forwards. If you have done something that you don't want to do, click the undo button and it'll get it back. Now, with the media selected, I'm going to call this once again history photos, just for my reference. And I'm going to attach some media. So I hit add media. Once again, it's going to be images. I can do the same thing with audio and videos, but for this, it's just going to be images. So some history photos. It's fascinating the way this was built. So I'm going to start with this image here. You can see it's arrived over this side and over here. Click it in the order you want it or rearrange them later, as I said. I'm going to close that. And now you can see we've got a gallery of images, which when somebody is previewing, they will be able to see those images. Now I can just go ahead and resize, just make that a bit bigger, move it across. And as part of the lesson, part of the quiz that's going to be shown later on. I'm going to put some text in. Now, sometimes if you create an object, it can be created behind something else. So what you want to do is just click on one of them using the Z tool, just move it back and forth, and you can see. So that's a little bit of a trick. Just because this is a 3D environment, things can end up sometimes, not that often, in back of other things. I'm just going to move my text here. The Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889. Now, as you can see, my text is longer than the amount of space on the canvas. So as I did before, I'm just going to widen this out, pull it down. It's up to you how you want to format it. Go into design options, and make that not bold and right aligned. Put that here. So now we have a nice title with our gallery, and the students can learn that it was completed specifically in 1889. So now we have some elements which we're starting to create some interaction with. Second last thing I want to do is create a quiz. So something for the kids to actually interact with. That's where the gallery tool once again comes in. So I click on the gallery tool. And as I showed you earlier, a gallery tool can have things embedded in it. So if I choose my gallery style, I'll come back to gallery style. It might be more obvious why in a moment. First thing I'm going to do is choose my image, and I'm going to choose embed from the web. Now, there are a number of things you can embed from the web. You can embed YouTube videos, Google Forms, Maps, Microsoft Forms, Spotify, etc. And the way that you do that is if you go to a Google form. So I've created this dummy Google form for this purpose. All of the platforms that we have available have embed code that can be shared. And I'll just quickly show you how. Once you know how, it's very easy. Especially, so with Google Forms, you hit the send button and you can either email, get the link, or get the embed code. And embed code always looks a bit like this. All you do is copy that embed code, go back to Situ, embed from the web. I'm going to call this quiz. I'm going to you have to pick the platform and then paste the embed code, and that's it. So now when I preview and I click on that, it brings up the form. Now, because I don't necessarily want all that text on the side, I can go to my gallery style, just make it an image. Because this is essentially, the embed is like an image, I'm going to put a white background and I'll center it. Close that. And now we have our quiz. I'm also just going to add a label to this. So you can change the design of your icon. So if you wanted a pin, for example, in this case, I'm not going to do that. I'll just keep the default. And I can also add a label. I'm going to type in here, quiz. Once again, it's kind of white on white. So I'm going to go ahead in the text and labels, change it to black, so it's easier to see. I'll keep that one bold. Okay, now what I've done, you can place this obviously wherever you like. What I've done in the quiz is I've said, this is less a SITU360 thing and more of an interest for the students thing. There's a bonus question down here, and it says there is a hidden button in this project for bonus content. And the clue has been hidden in the information boxes that you've already read. Right at the top, I've said, please make sure you've looked around the whole experience before taking the quiz. And the question is, where is the Trocadero? Place your cursor where you think it is and click. And if you're taken there, you've completed the task. Now, obviously, you don't want to show them where the Trocadero is with what we call a waypoint, being able to move from one place to another. So I'll kill two birds with one stone here. I'll show you how to use waypoints. As I showed you before, we have two locations in this project. We've got the Eiffel Tower and the Trocadero, and we want to link to the Trocadero. So I'm going to place a waypoint down. That arrives there. I'm going to keep it big because it's going to be invisible. So it's going to be difficult for the kids to find. Now what I do, I'm going to call this invisible waypoint. And I'm going to link to a scene, Trocadero. Now you can see the Trocadero has arrived in that area. And I'm going to leave it, no, sorry. And then I'm going to need to make it invisible. So the icon design, you change, you click on this button which says invisible. It's a little small on my screen here. And you'll get a button that says this will be invisible. Now, if I click on editing, it disappears. So this is what the kids will see. They will see a project. They'll probably click on the quiz if you placed it there, and hopefully they'll read that they need to do the rest of the experience before taking the quiz. They can then have a look around, they can read. Hopefully they get to the bottom because it says the Trocadero is directly underneath the tower from where you're sitting. They will have a look that the Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889. And then they will do the quiz. They will read that there is a hidden link, and hopefully somebody has understood. And when they roll over, you can see that the hand turns into a different kind of button. You click that, and then you're taken to the Trocadero. Now, obviously, we did say this was going to be some bonus content, not just the fact that you've arrived. So I just also want to show you another element. Place the gallery tool down. I'm going to place this up here and call this video. Make that black so we can see it. So we're going to have some video of France, and we're also going to have some audio of France. So I'm going to click on this. I'm just going to duplicate it. And over on this side, I'm going to place the other gallery. I'm going to say audio. And in the video one, I am going to choose the heading style. Once again, this is going to be embedded from the web, so I just choose images. I am going to embed from the web. I just need to get to my tab.
Nick, just then we lost your sound.
Can everybody see my screen? Lawrence, is there some reason I've lost my screen?
No, we lost your sound for a second, but you're back now. We can still see your screen.
Okay. I've lost interaction. There we go. So images and videos. Let me have another go at that. So YouTube. You can call that whatever you like. Click that at YouTube and paste the embed code that I just copied from the YouTube video. Hit confirm. And I'm going to do the same thing with audio. What I've done with the audio, which is quite a fun thing to do, is to get a Spotify playlist or Spotify song. And you can, the same as you do with YouTube or Google Forms, there is embed code. I can't show you that because it won't share my screen into the Spotify platform. But if I say French music, choose Spotify as the platform and paste that in there and confirm that. And then I'm just going to put a big congratulations because they've obviously, hopefully that's spelt right. Not exactly. Make it big, red, and over the top. And now when they come into here, they go to the audio button. There is a Spotify song, and we can hear some French music. And video, they click on this, click play, and this is a YouTube video. And it's all embedded directly in here. It's not taking you out to a different website, which is important a lot of the time for you controlling what the students see. And that is it. So I'm not sure, so it's 4:14, that's 20, 25 minutes, something like that. And I'm going as slowly as I can to make sure it's understood. So we've created our experience. I'm going to go back to the Eiffel Tower, just give you a very, oops, sorry, pushed the wrong button there. Let's go back here to the Eiffel Tower. Just give you a very quick idea. If you go to the scene objects, you can see all the objects, all the galleries, all the text in your scene. 360s, as I said, is where the locations that are in your project, and then your media. So you can have a look at the media that you've got available to you. So now you want to share it. So you go back to the experience outline. This is where you can see all the details, and you go to share and publish. It can be private, protected, gives you a password so that people need to input a password when they are given the link, and public, which is exactly the same. It just doesn't need a password. Now, as you can see here, I have a QR code. The QR code is useful, obviously, for a mobile device, and I'll show you that in a moment. But you have all the, it looks confusing, but once you know what's here, it's very easy. Email and social, you hit copy. If I then start a new tab, paste that into there, this is now the live and very real project. This is exactly what the students will see.
Nick, do you want to put that link into the chat maybe?
Sure.
The link to the project you've just created, and then for those people who have who are on a computer where they can tap that link, they can give it a go and see how quickly you built it, you shared it, and then pop the link. While you're doing that, there's just some questions. Obviously, for those Department of Education teachers, in your mind, you might have thought, oh, well, you know, our kids don't have access to YouTube. And so, Nick, in our schools, we've got a really heavily filtered environment.
Right.
Are there plans, or is there possibility to add video sources, like, for example, SchoolTube, I think was one mention. Like, is that something that you're looking at down the track to expanding that?
Yeah, absolutely. What we've done is we've put in the common ones for now, and as we get feedback from anybody about the platforms that they use, then yes. But a note on that, some platforms we can, but we don't, because they use JavaScript, and JavaScript opens up to other issues. People are able to then put in, malware and things like that. So we can't embed anything like that, but certainly send through your requests if you have any for embeds.
Yep. All right. And so, Department of Education teachers, please feel free to reach out to me, and then I'll pass things on to Nick. There was another request from Richard. Do you have to create, or are there templates? Is there ready-made examples to use?
So in terms of projects with objects already in them, no, not at this stage. It is something we're considering. The reason we haven't at the moment is because everybody's needs are so different. So if it's a request that comes up a lot, then we'll certainly look deeper into it. But at the moment, it really is the 360 library, which they're not templates as such, but they're certainly backgrounds and environments that you can use.
Terrific, thank you. But of course, Richard, if you want a hand, then feel free to reach out. We'll kind of get you up and running.
So I'll just quickly show you the QR code. I can see Tanya Wright already used the QR code, which is great. I'm just going to jump out of the chat so I'm not getting myself confused. But I will share my mobile device with you. Mirror that screen. So this is the SITU360 app. And if you have an account, you can log in. There is a viewing history, so you can see all the projects that you've viewed in the past, and a viewing experience. So if you share this QR code or the alphanumeric code with anybody and they have the app, this is what they'll see. or they can just scan it through their cameras, their phone's camera, and it'll open it up in a web browser. If I say, scan the QR code.
But Nick, people don't need to have an account to view an experience, do they?
No, they don't. No. So I'll just scan that. So no, you don't have to have an account. If you as a teacher says to the students, please download or you've downloaded the app onto a device, or another teacher onto their own device, you can just give them this QR code. They don't need to sign up. It's just a public project at that point. And so you can see that I scanned that QR code. This is the project that I've just made. I'm going to hit, you can download it. I won't download it because it can take a little while with all the data. But the benefit of downloading is if you download here and then you go to, say it's for an art exhibition, and you go into an art space and the Wi-Fi is terrible, you can disconnect your phone from the internet, and because it's downloaded onto your phone, you can still use, people can still see it. That's the same on the VR headset as well, which I'll show you in a moment. If I just push stream, this is the same project as I just made, streaming. So we're in here.
So at the moment, we can't see the phone anymore, Nick.
You can't see it anymore.
No. Oh, hang on, now we go.
Yeah, is that good? Can you see me moving around there?
Oh, at my end, it's very slow. I don't know if anybody else is getting it.
Maybe it's, I'm just having a look at the other computer. Maybe there's just too much data going on. But what you're seeing on that still frame there is essentially the, I'll just make sure, yeah, we're doing the right thing. It's just the data is a bit too slow right now on my internet. So I'll stop sharing that. But you get the idea. It's basically instant what I just did there. And given that wasn't working, I'll give this a crack as well, just to show you on the mixed reality headsets, which you will have with your kits. If I, excuse me, just turning away, share my screen, and I have a look at the mixed reality portal. I just need to relaunch Situ, it was there. And if any of you have been into these headsets, they're absolutely fantastic for so many reasons, but obviously seeing, okay, I'll share my screen now.
You might need to stop sharing from your laptop, the screen.
Yeah, it said it had stopped. Here we go. So can you see this?
Yep.
This is one I made earlier. It's just because I didn't want to have to type in the code while you were all watching. But you can see that this is basically the same thing. And
but this one's video. The example we just did was a photograph.
That's right.
So for those who don't know, of course, Situ hosts video at beautiful 4K, right?
It does, yes. And I think I skimmed over that quickly at the start. You can use, I used stills in this just to make sure that it was as quick as I could for you. Uploading videos can take a little longer, that's all. So yes, you can 4K video down to 2K or even 1K, I think. Yeah, and this is directly through the headset. I'm just looking around with this and it's doing that live in the project that you would have made. So I'll stop sharing that screen. And in terms of my presentation and creating and sharing, that's really it. That was not a very in-depth project to make, but it's something that you can do reasonably quickly and you can share with your kids basically in no time. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and thanks for listening. It's been great to present to everybody. And yeah.
Thanks, Nick. Really appreciate you kind of taking time out and sharing the work that you guys have been doing over at Situ. We are very excited that everyone who's got either a handheld virtual reality kit, a 360 camera kit, or an immersive virtual reality kit, those schools have access to a pro account. Don't forget, you need to claim that pro account. So you'll need to go have a look at the link in the learning library. Sandy has just popped that link in the chat. So that's where you will claim your account. And when you go to that link, you'll see your name, your school name, and that will activate the pro status. And then you'll create your account as a teacher, and then Nick, do we still share a team link with the kids?
Yes.
Can you actually just demo that process? Because the way that the students get access to the pro functionality is by clicking on the team link that the teacher sends them. So just show us where that is.
Sure. So go into your admin panel. If you've just signed up, you will have a big banner at the top saying invite your team. And you can either leave it there or dismiss it. If you do dismiss it, you can access it via your admin panel. So you go to admin panel and team management. And from here, if you click the email me the team sign up link, that'll just email you, the admin. And from there, you can send it to students. Once they get that link, they will be taken to a screen that says they need to sign up for an account. But the account is a team account. It's not a full-blown account. And what that will do is once they've signed up, it will add them down in this this column here. If you don't just do that, you can, this is in the way, just move that out of the way. You can add a new team member. So if you only have 2 or 3 students for some reason that you wanted to invite in, you just type in their email, hit create. It will add them straight away to this column, and then you will they will get an invitation. There's another thing that you may not need to do as teachers, but I will show you. You can configure your team sign up link. So at the moment, because I am with figment.tech, automatically anybody with an email address figment.tech who is sent the link can sign up. If I send somebody the link and they try with a gmail.com email URL, it won't work, but you can allow it. So I can type in here, I haven't done this for a while, at gmail.com. No, it's probably just gmail.com. And that will be there. So now if anybody from NSW tries, they won't be able to, but somebody from gmail.com will be able to. So it gives you some flexibility to sign up team members in other ways. You have, with an education account, you have 35 seats. So yours is 1, and then you can invite 34 students.
It's really important actually that teachers don't use this to invite other teachers, right? So each teacher needs to sign up themselves, and then they'll get their own team management link. So because what has happened in the past is sometimes a teacher has gone, oh, well, I'll invite a teacher to my team, but then that second teacher doesn't have the invite link for the kids. So
and the other way, sorry, Lawrence, the other way, some teachers have given the admin sign up link to the kids, and suddenly you have all your kids having an administrator account and they're not part of your team. So that you do need to look out for that. I think they're probably the 2 things we've run into, but it's reasonably rare.
Yeah, and the question there that I've got from Kath, that's because you are part of someone else's team rather than being in your own team. So if you want to be able to demonstrate where that team sign up link is, and the rest of you leaders, maybe it's a similar sort of scenario. You guys were originally put in someone's team to give you access, but there's no reason why we can't address that. If there's any other questions in the chat, I'm just having a look. If there's no other questions, how are we going for time?
2 minutes. I did just also want to say, in celebration of our new user interface release, we are offering 25% off yearly subscriptions. So if anybody's not on the STEM kit program, if that's gone and you need to sign up, we're offering 25% off. And I'll post the promo code in the chat so that you can have that.
Brilliant. That's always good news.
Yeah. So I mean, a yearly is $250 for the entire year for yourself and 35 students. 25% off is always a bonus. So
Nick, can you remove students and then add different students?
Yes, you can. Yes. So once you have people down here, if you've finished the year, you can remove team members Also make sure that you've clicked the can delete their own, so that if a student wants, for whatever reason, they can delete their own. But remove team members, that will take them off, which will add them back onto your available team members down the bottom corner. And so you can keep track of how many you've got open. But yes, you can use this for years and years, take them off, put new classes back on, etc.
So some of our teachers, for example, they might be a full-time technology teacher or a full-time STEM teacher, and they'll have classes coming through. So they could do a Situ project, for example, with one class in term 1, finish the project, remove those students and make way for another class maybe in term 2. If they do that, Nick, do the student projects persist? Are they lost?
They're not lost. If you remove a team member, that team member's project still resides in their account. Their account just gets suspended, so they can't create anything else. They're just there.
But they can continue to share the work that they've done?
Yes, the links will stay active.
All right, wonderful. I've got a couple of questions from, let's see. Susan is having trouble. Susan, it sounds like you didn't use our link in the learning library. So if you've gone to Situ, the website, to sign up for a free community account, that one will expire. Because the STEM T4L project has got a special relationship with Situ, we've got a special sign up link that you need to use. All right, and that will get you out of that. Again, Susan, please feel free to email me, lawrence.dirks1, and we can resolve that account issue, okay?
I'll just answer that one from Sharon. What if 2 teachers are working together on one class? In terms of collaboration, there's no way to work together on a project at the same time. There is a way to reassign a project from one admin account to another to a different within the same account to a different team member. Right now that's not active, but it will be by the end of next week. So what you can do, if you have 2 admin accounts, you can't share a project between the 2 teachers, unfortunately. You'd need to share login details most likely.
Nick, the creating sharing a project from one account to the other, that's kind of like making a template, right?
In a way.
So a teacher could start a project and then assign it to the kids.
Yes, actually, I know we're probably out of time. I'll quickly show you what that might look like. If you create a template, if you assign that to one of the kids, you'll lose it.
Okay, it goes out of your dashboard.
It does, but you can clone. So what you do is you would clone it, and then you would reassign that one to the student. You can still see the project. There's a little tick box that says allow me to view the project, so you can see what they're doing, but you then don't have access to do anything on that project. They could reassign it back to you, no problem. But once again, that feature isn't active right at this minute and will be by the end of next week.
Nick, will teachers be able to go into, like if you go back to your team management window, will teachers be able to click on the student name, for example, and see the projects kids are working on?
No, not at the moment. You can't. No, that is a feature that we once again have been requested a couple of times. We need to look into it, but right now, no, I'm afraid you can't.
Okay. I know that some of you are probably thinking about you want to be able to do that, and we'll wait and see when that's available. Well, thanks everybody. It's 4:30. Yeah, 4:33. Nick, I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you so much for setting this up. It's great to talk.
Yeah, no worries. I'll make the recording available via our YouTube channel. So just youtube.com/STEMT4L. Give me till tomorrow afternoon to do that. Department of Education teachers, of course, you can always reach out to stem.t4l@det.nsw.edu.au. As soon as we end the meeting, that code is going to vanish. So if you want to take advantage of that 25% discount, quickly scroll up through the chat.
I can get it emailed to all the participants as well.
Email it out. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, everyone, and have a great afternoon. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Lawrence. Bye.